Hey guys, Mike here with Cutting Edge Tactics and Training, and today I wanted to talk to you about one of my favorite handguns ever, the HK45. Now, I know this gun is a little bit older. It is in 45, so it may not be the most practical thing, but it's just super fun to shoot. I love this gun, so I wanted to talk about it. My personal history with it is I actually bought an HK USP 45 as my first handgun ever. I was still in the Marine Corps. I didn't have a ton of pistol experience. So the only reason I got that gun is because I grew up watching the show 24, and Jack Bauer uses an HK USP in that show. And I wanted the same thing just because I thought it looked really freaking cool. So I ended up getting an HK USP 45. I got into the private security sector after I got out of the Marine Corps, and I was using that gun, but I realized it's really hard to put a modern light on the USP 45 and harder to find a holster for that gun with a modern light because it needed an adapter and all this other stuff. So I upgraded to the HK45, which is more of a modern design. They have the pick rail on the bottom so it can more easily accept modern lights, and there's a little bit more options for holsters. Right now, I don't carry this thing, but I still love this gun. I love going out and shooting it. I find it to be a very soft shooter for a 45. Love the controls on it, and so that's why I'm making a video about it today. As I said, extremely soft shooting. I think all of HK's guns are very good when it comes to recoil management, just standard right out of the box. So I'm going to roll in some video footage of me just shooting this thing, putting a couple rounds through it so you guys can see how little the recoil is if you do your job and have a good grip. So check that out. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about this gun are the controls. They are fully ambidextrous. So we have ambidextrous slide lock, slide releases on both sides. I really like the design that HK went with on this. They are a bit more dubbed out than most modern handguns, which seem to go more for a concealment factor. So they're very slim. These, I have no problem easily finding and actuating to lock the slide back or to release it. And I really appreciate that feature. And they are ambidextrous. Another thing that is ambidextrous on this firearm is the magazine release. Now, HK does use a paddle release system. I know a lot of you guys are probably not used to that. Again, my first handgun was an HK USP 45, so I just got used to their paddle system. And it is a bit more extended on their HK 45 and P30, so I really like that feature. It's something that if you ever were to switch over, you'd have to train a little bit, but it's really not that bad. Now, when I first got this thing, it was, I believe, the variant 3, which is a traditional double action, single action pistol with a built-in decocker. I then sent it off to HK to get the LEM, or law enforcement modification trigger, put into it. Now, what the LEM trigger does is keeps this as a double action pistol, but when you rack the gun, it pre-cocks it, so you're basically only having a single action trigger pull every single time. So it makes the trigger pull very consistent. And so you have a bunch of travel at the beginning, but it's very light to get that trigger up to the wall, and then a nice little clean break, and then you would rack the slide, and basically it decocks itself when you let go of that trigger. I'm going to roll in a live video now, explaining that a little bit, letting you guys see it shooting and operating in action, so check that out.
All right, so we're going to walk through the pull, break, and reset of the trigger on this HK45 LEM. So LEM means I'm going to have a super light take up. So there's a lot of travel in there, but it's very, very light to get to the wall. So now I'm at the wall, nice clean break. Now you're going to hear the reset, very minimal, and I'm basically right back on that wall. There's the reset, back on the wall, nice, crisp break.
Okay, so that's the LEM trigger, or law enforcement modification, explained. I really like it. And I found that when I am presenting on target or coming up from a draw, I'm allowed to get my finger on that trigger and pull back to that wall and get right on target, and then just have a nice clean break. So I found when I put in the LEM trigger that my draws and engagement on target were a lot faster than a traditional double action trigger pull on that first pull, and I don't have to carry it with it locked and cocked. So check out this video of me doing draws with it, just kind of give an idea of how that LEM trigger works when you're drawing from the holster and engaging a target.
All right, I got steel set up about 8 yards away, so we're gonna run this. That was 1.25. $1.14. $1.10. So with that LEM trigger, I can really get to the wall quickly with very little weight and then nice clean break.
That's the LEM trigger. Again, love that feature on here. I think it is probably, so I love hammer guns. I think the triggers on them are really good for the most part. This allows me to get almost like a 1911 trigger without having to get a 1911. Like I said, I have the HK45 right now. I'm saving up to get an HKP30, probably from Langdon Tactical because they do a lot of good work on it. But I just love the LEM trigger system. I love HK guns. Their sights, their stock sights that come in are very good. Now, I shoot mostly red dot nowadays. This will not take a red dot. Again, Langdon Tactical does do some work on some USPs and the P30 models to accommodate a red dot. They don't do this on the HK45. I don't know if they ever plan to. I probably won't put a red dot on it. So I get that this is not the most practical pistol for carry, but it's just a great, fun thing to go out to the range and shoot. 10-round magazine capacity. The HK USP 45 has a 12-round magazine capacity. I don't know why they didn't go 12 rounds, but whatever. Again, this is more for me a range toy at this point, but I do really enjoy this gun. You can load it with super hot rounds if you plan on taking it into the woods. Again, there's 10 millimeter nowadays, but if you want to stay with 45, there are some viable options for ammunition to use for defense against some animals. I don't know if I put it up against a grizzly, but I've heard some people say with some of the ammo, it works. I don't know about that as far as if I want to bet on that, but whatever. This thing, however, will handle super hot ammunition. I've put some really spicy rounds from Underwood ammo through this thing, and it handles it like a champ. It still shoots super flat. And so I just wanted to talk about this gun because I love it. It was one of my first guns, and so I like it. And I just wanted to share that with you guys. Anyways, would I buy it in 2024 or coming up 2025? I would. Would I carry it all the time? Probably not. But it's still a great, fun gun to shoot. Very well made. And I just love this thing. So that's my review on the HK45. I hope you guys enjoy it. Take care, and I will see you guys at the range.